Ladies and gentlemen, this is All Things Pro Wrestling, episode 9, with your host, Danny Harrell, and my co host,
And Mike Larkin, host of On the Mic with Mike and contributor to CCW Capital Championship Wrestling.
and today, for episode 9, we are with the one and only Lara Frazier. Lara, how are you?
Hi, I'm great. How about you?
Hanging in there. It's another day.
It's very hot.
Let's start from the very beginning, right? And I hate asking this question because I see it get attacked a lot on Twitter and stuff when people don't want to come on podcasts and stuff. But I feel like it's important for people to know sometimes, you know. When did you really start getting into wrestling?
Like interested or like training, or what do you mean
Like
by
just
that?
like start watching the product and start
Like
like
around
yeah,
around like 2017. I was watching Glow on Netflix, like the Netflix version
yeah.
with Allison Brie, and I was in LA working at Disneyland, and I just wasn't feeling happy. A lot had gone on in my life, and I don't know, it seemed interesting to me. So my friend wanted to go to a pay-per-view at the Staples Center for WWE, and he took me and we watched it, and there were a couple of matches that I thought were really good, and I was like, oh, okay, yeah, this seems like something I would want to do. So yeah, we looked at schools, and everything in LA was either too expensive or like not, within driving distance. So I moved back to Northern California, and here I am now.
So was that pay-per-view when you like literally when you realized like, okay, this is what I want to do?
I think it was before that. I think it was just while I was watching Glow, I was like, this looks really cool. I kind of want to get involved.
Okay. That's really cool to hear. Michael?
So I will say this first and foremost, and what I love about professional wrestling stores, especially yours, Miss Frazier, and I got to say this about you, what I love about it too as well, there's so many different avenues and outlets for people to get into professional wrestling, whether it be Glow, whether it be, you see reality shows like Total Bellas and Total Divas. I think what's great about professional wrestling is the right school, like you mentioned, and I got to bring this to the forefront here, because if you are not following the Adventuress over here on Instagram, this one with the creative juices constantly flowing, we see you doing so many great maneuvers, including your finisher, the cliffhanger, which I gotta say, folks, if you want to look at it, it's like you put the acid drop Spike Dudley dog, you put like a headlock driver, you put like the Naomichi Marufuji style pro wrestling no way, you whip it all up and you get the cliffhanger. Probably one of the most devastating maneuvers I've seen, very unique with a twist. I love it. I gotta just point out the importance of having a brutal finisher and importance in a finisher, and I love the finisher that you provide.
Thank you so much. I was working on it in training. I forget what it was, but my trainer, Rick Scott Stoner, was telling me you should do this move and then step off the ropes and do it. And he's like, that should just be your finisher. Because I was having a hard time coming up with a finisher. And, we just worked on that. And he's like, that should just be your finisher. And I was like, okay, I guess it is. Gotta listen to my trainers. I mean, you don't have to, but it's ideal that you listen to your trainers, right?
Yep.
But I think what's great about that too is
I agree.
well, no, what's great about it too is, and I got to put it over here on Prettiers, I've seen you do X Factors live, and we'll get to that in a little bit. But here's what I love about it too. It's constantly going on like, what fits me? I mean, we look at Triple H early on, before we even had the pedigree, which was become the double underhook pile driver that we know and love, he used it as a cutter. And then, Diamond Dallas Page also at the time was doing the diamond cutter. So you see that transition of what fits me, this version or what have you, like the Dirty Deeds. Look at John Moxley. That was originally a headlock driver. And then boom, now we know it as the double arm DDT, the Kibashi DDT, if you will. It's all about variations and how you really threw that twist and style into the maneuver.
Mm-hmm. Totally.
Alrighty, go ahead.
I can also, like, if someone's shorter than me, I sometimes just do the straight driver to the ground, but I usually like to go off the ropes because it's unique.
Well, it works. I mean, you've seen a lot of people do that. And I mean, another perfect variation is like you do the sliced bread, like when Brian Kendrick did the Kendrick to put a West Coast reference on it. Like the sliced bread, just boom. And I mean, I also look at it from a stance. Look at Ultimo Dragon, the Asahi DDT, the sliced bread, just boom. There's so many different variations of it. But if it looks sweet and looks devastating, that's really what that matters too. And I got to say, first and foremost, cliffhanger. Let's talk about the name of the maneuver here, because cliffhanger, perfect name. It's put you in the checkmate. It puts you at the end on the cliffhanger, keep them wanting more. Talk about the name of the finisher, because it is a sweet name, by the way.
Thank you. I was wondering what to name it, and my other trainer, I have three of them. My other trainer, Scott Rick Stoner, they're twins. He was like, "You just call it the cliffhanger." And I thought about it, and I was like, "Yeah," because he was thinking of the Sylvester Stallone movie. I was thinking like, well, because a lot of the serials that Indiana Jones is based off of, like the old adventure serials from like the 1950s, those used to end on, literal cliffhangers. So I was like, oh yeah, that fits, but it works either way. So it has like multiple levels.
Hey, there's a deep meaning to it. And first and foremost, you can't go wrong with Indiana Jones, especially with it coming back with its newest movie in the overall franchise. So, I mean, you're in good hands with that. And especially being adventurous, you tie it all together and then boom, you have a slice of a finisher, if you will. So I get it. I like that. You got to mix it up, if you will. Variety is key in everything, right?
For sure. Totally.
Go ahead, Danny.
Well, like Michael said, the movie is definitely fire. If you guys haven't seen it, you can check it out. Is it on Twitter as well, or just Instagram? The video.
Yeah, you have to scroll a little bit, but yeah, I quote tweeted something from Ridiculous, which is what the video is from, and yeah, you have to scroll, but it's there.
Well, there you guys go. So, a question I wanted to ask is, you've mainly wrestled in California, right? Are you looking at promotions outside of Cali? Is there any place you would want to work at, or anything you've been keeping your eyes at?
Yeah, I've worked, my first three matches were actually out of state. My first match was in Vegas at LFC. And then the next two were at 5cc Wrestling in Washington. And then I wrestled in Reno, which is also in Nevada, a few times. I wrestled in Mississippi a couple of times for custom wrestling. But yeah, there's plenty of places I'd love to work. I'd love to work Chicago, just anywhere in Chicago. I'd love to go back to the Pacific Northwest and work SOS Pro Wrestling. I'd like to work a lot of places, but yeah.
Awesome. Well, let me bring up this follow-up question. You have a indie dream match, independent pro wrestling. Do you have a dream match of an opponent you'd like to face?
Pretty much anyone, really. I don't really have I hate this question. I'm sorry.
No, you're good.
Yeah. No, like, I don't know, like I'll wrestle someone. I don't know. There's a lot of people I want to wrestle. So like, there's not just like one person in my brain that like, I'm just like burning like to wrestle. It's just, I want to wrestle as many people as I can. So, there's not like just one person.
Like Cody Rhodes with the list. I think that's what's great about it too. We can equate it to that, because I think what's great about the indies is too, there's so much different styles, and I agree with her on this wholeheartedly. I mean, when you're a professional wrestler and you have the chance to book, as long as you do it safe and spectacular, the two S's, if you will, keep it safe and do it in spectacular fashion with your craft. I think that goes a long way, and I think really having the importance of finding that good opponent and gelling with them, and really also the uniqueness as well. I mean, Danny and we just had Brittany Brooks on the show, and she's another one, Dynamo, who I know you just got in the ring with not too long ago. Like, she's another one. I just see such passion. I see such brightness, the happiness, the smile. So I think like women like that is another one that really stick out, just to see, where we can go with this. Can we have a return match? There's so many possibilities. I think that's what makes the art form of professional wrestling, especially with great promotions out there, really worth having,
Yeah, totally. Yeah. I mean, I really want to wrestle Anton, because like I've wrestled both of my trainer, the Stoner brothers already. It's like, I also want to wrestle Anton, where he's my other trainer. So, yeah, I guess that's like number one on the list, but like, there's just so many people that like, I'm just dying to wrestle.
Well, that's
all right.
I love it. Yeah, Danny.
No, go ahead.
I will say this. Danny did also bring up LFC Lingerie Fighting Championships, where I met this insanely talented and awesome human being here. Folks, it was back on Halloween night back in 2021 for LFC 35 Booty Camp 3D, baby. Beauty in 3 dimensions and everything that goes into it. This one over here comes out, and I gotta say, folks, when you think of popular culture, you think of movies that deal with Halloween. You think of ones like the DComs, the Halloween Towns, if you will, the character Marnie, portrayed by Kimberly J. Brown. I gotta say, with that outfit, folks, the witch hat, everything, dare I say, witch's brew, you did Kimberly J. Brown, really kind of amplified yourself as that witch that you were, fit the mold, and you have over 143,000 viewers from that video now on the Lingerie Fighting Championships YouTube video. Let's talk about that bout here, because for those that are new to LFC, it's an amazing promotion. It's empowering, it's body confidence, and it's everything all up wrapped into one. Your opponent was Veronica VP Payne. I had front row to that, and a lot of people got to see an amazing debut and a victory in your debut, Miss Lara Frazier. Talk about that experience. Las Vegas, Nevada, bright lights, bigger city, to quote CeeLo Green. Talk about that experience.
Yeah, it was wild, especially that being like a debut match. Like, that's just insane to think about, like being flown out for something and, you know, facing someone who's been in the business as long as Veronica VP Payne has, and she's wrestled, you know, Shayna Baszler, she's wrestled all kinds of people. And, you know, I did not think I was going to win that match. I know I should be a little more confident in myself. I am now these days, but at the time I was just like, you know, I'm going up against a vet, so I don't think I'm going to win, but I ended up winning, and it's like, oh, cool. Guess I have really good trainers.
It's just the X Factor popped me, because I told you it's the simplest things. This one puts out an X Factor and backbreakers and everything. I think what I enjoyed about it too, as well, is first of all, we had new teams there with the blue team, you coached by the great Audrey Mongoose Monique. What I thought was great is, first of all, you're watching these two dynamos here. And like you mentioned, Veronica VP Payne, been in there with Shayna Baszler, very much a dynamo in her own right on the indies. And God bless her, she just had a kid. So congratulations to her. I think what's great about it too is, as well, like, it's always great to watch a bout that goes the distance, and you two certainly went the distance. But that announcement of just, you know, by just everything unanimous, you got it. I think there was something that we saw in there was a lot of spark. There was a lot of passion. There was a lot of drive. And you talk about your confidence, and speaking as someone who saw it and a lot of people that watched it on the website and all around the world, for you could see someone who's just like you. And I could see it now, your humbleness, your drive, your passion to where you are now. I think from where you were in 2021 and how we amplify ourselves here to 2023, it's just going to get brighter and brighter, man. So I can't wait to see you return to LFC. And if I'm there, I'll be saying hello and giving you a hug like last time. And I want to see you get another dub, man. You're undefeated, right? Yeah.
Yeah, undefeated in MMA. I have a better MMA record than Thunder Rosa or CM Punk.
This one, okay, we're gonna throw it out there with the Thunder Rosa and CM Punk. You see the confidence? I like it. I like it. It's exuding. I love it. Got to put that over. I like it. Very nice. Yeah, no. Another thing I'll just mention on the LFC front here: Deck the Halls. Tommy Bell, our boy Tommy Bell. Folks, if you've not checked out the LFC Instagram, this one over here was featured last Christmas with the NSYNC tune of "Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays." LFC has done many great calendars, which featured Lauren the Animal Fogel and Terry Feisty Fist London as Santa and the elves, respectively. You were in a drawing with Veronica Payne, which very much incorporates the photo taken by Richard Enber of Labor God Photography. The weigh-in, man, which was very exciting. So, two-parter here. Besides the drawing, which we'll get into, we'll do that on the second half of this question. First part, weigh-in. Weigh-ins came back for LFC at LFC 35. The last time we saw it was at LFC 25 back in 2018, and it resurfaced for that. What were you thinking about going into that weigh-in, man? It's a big fight feel energy, and you gave a great pose with the fist going up like this. It was very much amplified. What were your thoughts about the weigh-in and the photo taken and drawn by Tommy Bell?
I was definitely really nervous because I've never done a weigh-in before, you know, first fight, whatever. So I was just like, okay, just gotta go in, and you know, all these other girls, they like look super hot, and you know, they're like super confident, and they're just like in it, and I'm just like, cool, I'm also here. But yeah, it was still fun. It was cool to be there. It was cool to stare down Veronica, and she tried to intimidate me, but I think I got under her skin, and it worked, obviously.
The face was priceless, folks. If you've ever seen the photo, Veronica kind of has that face on her, like she's like, yeah, whatever. It's kind of like it's what I like to call, if you can equate it to wrestling, it's the William Regal sour lemon face. Like when William Regal does his facial expressions, it's the William Regal sour lemon face, folks. And you were just like, it worked. And I think the dynamic of that was great, especially again with what we went into the bout. But I think what also was great about it too is you're a big Halloweener. So it really worked into the Halloweeny aspect of it. And first of all, and I'm going to say this to you, and you can agree with this. How do you not want to spend your Halloween with such amazing, beautiful talents going out there kicking butt and taking names? I think there's not a better way to spend Halloween, huh?
Nope, not at all. It's my favorite way to spend Halloween. In fact, this past Halloween, I also wrestled as Scarlet Witch against Dark Sheik, who was Dark Phoenix. And we wrestled a match at Hood Slam, and that was my Hood Slam debut. Was on Halloween, which was a Monday in Oakland, and it was awesome. It's just, yeah. So if I could just wrestle, like, I know it's probably not possible because Halloween falls on whatever day of the week, whenever the 31st is of October. But I would like to at least try to wrestle, even if it's just like training, like just, wrestle anytime there's Halloween. Because it's my favorite holiday. So yeah.
We're the Debbie Reynolds of Halloween. Being normal is vastly underrated. There's another reference. Yep, that is all you are. Go ahead, Dan.
I was just interested in asking, what's the best costume you've ever worn for Halloween
Just in general.
in general? Yes.
Oh God, there's so many. I would say my favorite would be there was one year where I did 31 costumes for all 31 days of Halloween, and there's like a three-way tie for it. I really liked my Lydia from Beetlejuice costume. I really liked my Morticia Adams from Adam's Family costume. And I really liked my Sally from A Nightmare Before Christmas costume. All three of those costumes were super cool.
That's pretty cool. Now, how does that work? 31 days. So is it like you just put on the costume, take a picture, and that's it, or like what goes behind all of that?
Pretty much just put on the costume and take a picture and post it on Instagram. Yeah, no, I wasn't like wearing them to school or anything. I was in school at the time for massage therapy, which I still do on the side on top of everything else.
How is that side? So we know you as a professional wrestler. So we know you as a professional wrestler, but how's the massage therapy world? How is that?
It's a lot more calm and relaxing, and a lot more based on just, taking care of yourself as opposed to wrestling, which is the opposite of that.
All right, that's awesome. That's cool to hear. Michael, go ahead.
Well, dude, there's a mechanics and a science to this because, I mean, first of all, that goes hand in hand. Wrestling, you take all the bumps. Maybe you wanted some massage. So, massage therapy and wrestling, I like it. You see it from both sides of the spectrum. And I look at it from a stance as well. You brought up 31 days of Halloween. That you were like the walking ABC family, like when they had the 25 days of Christmas and the 30 days of Halloween with the movies. That's exactly what you were. You were like the walking ABC family. But I can respect that because of the craft that goes into it to be creative for all 31 days. And you mentioned Hood Slam, which is also very imperative here because I like the style of Hood Slam. They have the comedy, they have a variety of everything. And I've seen a lot of their shows, especially with you being on them. But it's just like, it's great to see that promotion just thrive and strive because they put on great events, annual events, but also at the same time, man, you have a fun atmosphere and fun variety for everyone. I think we mentioned that being a key component of professional wrestling, but how awesome is that for you? Just like, not just being equality based and also very much diverse, you have to have fun in wrestling because, I mean, if you're not having fun, then why are you doing it? So, I mean, that's got to be a big proponent for you.
Yeah, I was watching this Out in the Ring documentary on WrestleMania weekend. I was there for the LA premiere of it, and there was a part about Hood Slam and Dark Sheik and her journey in wrestling. And she said, she created Hood Slam because a lot of her and her colleagues in wrestling were not finding any joy in wrestling, and basically she just created Hood Slam to kind of bring that joy back. And that's just basic, and it just became this big thing that they call it the accidental phenomenon. And it became like something so much bigger, but it hasn't lost the fun aspect of it. Like, I go in there and I know Sheik will have something fun for me to do. I'm not like concerned about how I'm gonna be booked like I am at other promotions. I get a little worried sometimes. I'm like, I don't know if this makes any sense, but I'm gonna do it anyway because I'm getting paid. But with Cheek, it's just like she's like, oh, I have a fun match for you, and it for sure is a fun match. And it's I never feel like I'm gonna have a bad match when I'm there, and I don't think I ever did have a bad match at Hood Slam.
I think it's very hard to have a bad match at Hood Slam because I look at it from the stance of what I always say, and I think you can agree with me on this: these subtleties, intricacies, and nuances that go into be a professional wrestler, from your character, from the maneuvers that you do in the ring. I think just they have a great storytelling product with what they do, and I mean that. If you're not doing a great storytelling product, then why the hell are you doing it? But also at the same time, you have to divert, you have to separate yourself than what you see from the traditional professional wrestling. Go outside of the box, outside of the norm, if you will. Take chances. And I mean, speaking of taking chances over here with the first ever South Bay Championship Wrestling Women's Championship over here, I got to first of all put that over because not only is that a great accomplishment for you, which congratulations in your own right, but also number two, to add on to that, man, the company is invested in you and they're gravitating towards you to be their first ever champion, be the centerpiece of the division, so to speak. Talk about that accomplishment. And first of all, another great promotion on the West Coast. Talk about being that women's champ, man.
Yeah, it was great until Brooke Havoc stole it from me with her knee braces, shoving my head onto her knee brace. But don't worry, September 9th, I will be getting it back at South Bay Championship Wrestling in a last woman standing match, which I've never done before. So this should be real interesting.
Go ahead, Dan.
I had a question and slipped my mind. Oh yeah, here we go. And I like to ask this question to all the talent because you hear different answers, and some talent kind of feel like this is a dumb question. I still like to ask it though, but what's the end goal for you with wrestling? Like, are you doing it for fun? Are you chasing the contract? Something to get your mind off of stuff. A lot of people have different answers, and I'm always just excited to hear it.
Yeah, for sure. I don't think that's a dumb question. I think wherever my career leads me, I eventually, the main goal is just to, be able to make a living off of it, whether it's directly through the wrestling itself or for it to open doors to like other business ventures. But I, of course, still wrestling, of course. Whatever the case may be, I just want to be able to make a living through storytelling in the ring. And whether that's getting signed or continuing to work on the indies or whatever the case may be, just making a living.
Awesome. Like I said, I'm always interested in hearing people's answers to that question. And
yeah.
Go ahead, Michael.
What I love about it too is, as well, first and foremost, there's so many different end games with how we are. So to equate it to like the final boss, so to speak, there's always that final boss coming for us. But what I do love about your work ethic here, and what I love about you too, is first and foremost, there's always something to learn, and there's always something to adapt with professional wrestling. And I think the trajectory of where you were going is going to lead you into some many more amazing opportunities, and especially over here, Lucha Patron Tag Team Champions. Let's put this over here. Adventures in Science. She blinded me with science. I want to watch weird science. Let's talk about this tag team here with Darwin Finch, because another one, very eccentric, doing his damn thing. I love the overall energy that you two both put together within your promos and within how you work. Talk about this Adventures in Science, man, because I'm digging it. You know what I'm saying? I love the energy. Darwin is a great town in his own right. You guys have been doing your thing with Full Queer, which is another great new professional wrestling promotion on the scene. Talk about how that came together, and I love the name.
Thank you. It was Belle Beefer, who is a wrestling fan on Twitter, who's one of the few but great kind wrestling fans in the IWC. But yeah, she came up with the name because she likes the movie Adventures in Babysitting. So it kind of came from there, Adventures in Science, because he is the punk rock Poindexter. But yeah, it was kind of like a weird, I'm not really sure like how it happened. I just knew that like Darwin kept asking for like places to work in NorCal, and like I threw out a few places, and Lucha Patron happened to be one of them. And so we got booked on Lucha Patron in a tag match against Joey Gonzo and who was then Chilango Kid, but I'm unsure of what they changed their gimmick to now. Forget, I'm sorry. I feel like I should know. I'm so sorry. But
good.
anyway, yeah, so we were going to tag in that match. And then I guess Full Queer got the idea to put us together as a tag team. And yeah, it just kind of, it spiraled from there. It just, we couldn't go back. It was just too good. It worked too well.
Oh man. Well, I gotta say this, since you did mention Lucha, this also ties in because when you think of the West Coast folks, one of the great schools in the West Coast area is Santino Brothers, and there's a certain woman by the name of Jezebel Romo, since you mentioned customs. Lucha Girls, baby. Oh my goodness, what talents. I know you got to do some shooting there too, right? Lucha Girls?
Yeah, I got to do a couple of matches there while I was down there for WrestleMania weekend.
Wonderful. Let's talk about that experience because I know Jennifer Thomas, aka Jenny Bloody Valentine LFC, has done a lot of great work down there. And I got to put over Jezebel, not just for the talent that she is, but what a consummate professional, right? Right? Oh,
yeah, she really has her ish together. It was good. I saw Jenny there again. It was good to see her again. It was good to finally work Heather Monroe. I hope to work her. That's another person I want to work in a wrestling match. It was great to work her though then, and of course Jezebel herself a couple of times. And yeah, it was just a great experience. I got in there, I got out of there, got all my stuff done, and I was able to spend the rest of the day with my boyfriend at the time.
nice. I can't complain about that. I think whether it be, well, at the time, significant others and family is key in everything, folks. But I will say this first and foremost, that's just another notch under your belt to do under the Lucha Girls banner, if you will. So that's awesome.
Yeah, for sure.
Go ahead, Dan.
So I know you say you didn't like this question, but I got to bring it back because it was a two-parter. The dream match question, I had asked you about the indies. What about the big companies? Would you do you have anyone in mind if you had the opportunity? Do you have anyone from the big companies that you like to step in the ring with?
There's a lot of people. Shotzi Blackheart, definitely, since she also went to Stoner U, and she was also trained by the Stoner Brothers. So I think we could have a really cool match. Charlotte Flair, definitely. After I watched the pay-per-view I went to back when the WWE Network was still a thing. Remember the WWE Network?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my friend had a subscription and I watched the Four Horsewomen of NXT collection, and that really got me to Charlotte Flair. And the other Four Horsewomen, of course, Bayley, Sasha Banks now, Mercedes Moné, and Becky Lynch. Charlotte, who else? For AEW, probably so many people. Toni Storm, Britt Baker, Paige, Ruby Soho, Willow Nightingale, Chris Statlander. Yeah, just that whole, oh God, Rhea Ripley. I forgot Rhea Ripley back at WWE. Oh my God, there's just so many talented women out there. I'm sorry.
And those are all good possibilities and good names, and you never know what can happen. So
for sure,
that was a great answer, and like I said, good names. Michael?
You put the alien and the adventuress in a ring together. That just as soon as you said Chris Statlander, I'm like, boom, there's the headline, there's the marquee, baby. Again, well, she's got that TBS championship, so there you go. But no, I think what you mentioned there was also very key. Like you mentioned Charlotte Flair from 2017. We're talking about the four MMA horsewomen, if you will: Charlotte, Sasha Banks, Bayley, Becky Lynch. I mean, they had a great four-way back in NXT there in the early takeover days. So I mean, I think there's a nice mesh of what, especially a lot of the newer girls that are getting into professional wrestling, you get to learn from the likes of what we saw there in the mid 2010s, so to speak, if you will. And I got to say, for you, this has got to make you feel good, Lara, because we talk about it with all the talent that we have on here. You are one of the ones that are really ushering into the next generation of women that you can elicit reaction, evoke emotion with. I think a lot of people are going to be inspired, encouraged with you and your overall in-ring work and your overall persona, if you will, just amplified up to here. So that's got to make you feel good, ushering in that next generation.
Yeah, sure. If that happens, yeah.
Hey, don't sell yourself short because I think there's a lot of people out there that can gravitate towards you, and I think the future is going to be very bright for you. So you have to put that into the existence and manifest it.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you. I appreciate it. I just
Perfect.
like because like both of me wants that, but also is like terrified of that as a concept because it's like, you don't want to let anyone down.
Fair
That's
enough.
the thing.
Enough. Okay. All right. But no, I think the other thing that I can add to as well, and we talked about just your journey into California from the West Coast, and like Danny mentioned, with everything that goes into it. One of the key things about your character, and you started it, I loved it. It's quirky. It has that overall quip, if you will. I'm talking about the puns. One of my favorite puns is, why didn't Iron Man get into the Man the Iron Mask premiere? Because he'd steal the show. First of all, as a fan of the Marvel and the Iron Mans and the Man in the Iron Mask, and you know me and my pop culture, love it, dig it. I think it's wonderful. But then you started doing stuff as well with the animals that you worked with during the zoo stuff, doing over here and over there. The pun thing, man, it caught on. It's funny, it's entertaining, and it's awesome. Talk about how'd you start wanting to do the pun series? Because I mean, it's really all I can say, folks. If you haven't seen it, it's entertaining as hell. I crack up every time you put it up.
Thanks. My friend in the wrestling business, Rosie Fingers, and also someone I train with at Stoner U, she wanted to go to the Academy of Sciences and film a few promos, and I was like, why don't I film a few of my Jungle Cruise jokes with like the dioramas in there? Because like I feel like there's a lot. Not everyone's been to Disneyland, it's expensive. So, like, not everyone knows what the Jungle Cruise is. Not everyone's experienced it, which is totally fine. Not everyone has to. But yeah, I was like, oh, what's a way for me to make this a little more accessible to people who may not necessarily want to go to Disneyland, which is totally understandable. It's hot, it's expensive. There's a lot of children running around. I get it. Um, and so that was kind of my way of doing it. And then I started going to zoos to do some more. And I would just like look up puns with my friend and be like, what's something that we can kind of tweak and make it, more like me. And then I did it at a Spirit Halloween store, and then it's just spiraled. And now whenever I don't do them, I just get people who are freaking thirsty for them, being like, so when are you bringing the jokes back? When are you bringing the jokes back? When are you bringing the jokes back? I'm like, okay, I just haven't had time to record. I'm sorry. But yeah, hopefully I'll have time to record Saturday when I'm in LA to see Metallica, because I'm seeing Metallica Friday and then I have Saturday off, and then we're seeing them again Sunday. So hopefully Sunday I'll have some time to record some puns.
As long as you don't go off into Never Never Land and disappear, I think you'll be okay. That's awesome, by the way. Have fun in Metallica.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm really excited because they're not repeating any songs for each
Yeah,
set. So I'm stoked.
I was about to say because I just went to their concert 2 weeks ago, so now I'm very interested. What are your top three songs?
Okay. Oh God. Okay. I really like The Day That Never Comes from Death Magnetic. I can't speak, sorry. I like For Whom the Bell Tolls. Master of Puppets. One. I went past three, sorry.
Okay.
No, go ahead. I was you can keep going.
Those are
No,
great
it's
choices.
fine. It's fine. I won't stop if I keep going. I really like Metallica.
No, I feel you. I mean, for a lot of us wrestling fans, 2003 SummerSlam, Saint Anger was the theme of that. I mean, when you had Saint Anger around there, I think they used All Nightmare Long, like, or later on. I mean, it's so funny, like with Metallica. I think they always constantly evolve, and for such a career that they've had, and I know for us MTVers, we think of them and the whole thing with Lars Ulrich and Napster from back in like 2000. They've had so many iconic moments and had so many iconic songs. I think they're just a staple, man. I know people can say what they will, and I know they've gotten older, and they can also usher in the new generation who've never heard of them. So I mean, it's timeless. I think if you equate timeless to any word or any band, Metallica is absolutely timeless.
Totally, totally. Yeah, I don't feel like their songs have like really aged. I just think a lot of their music, yeah, like you say, is universal. You could apply it to really any time period. It hasn't like dated itself at all when it comes to like the subject matter of it. Like a lot of it's still you can kind of apply your own experience to it, or the experience of someone you may know or something, and just be able to pull something from it emotionally. And that's the kind of music I like. Those are the kind of lyrics I like, that are like not, hyper specific, but more abstract.
And lyricism is very important in any type of music that a lot of people can relate to, whether it's pop, rock, punk, whatever. And I think that's what, it's funny because we always have this conversation just about music and stuff. But like when you look at today's music nowadays compared to back in the day, I think music has evolved, but I think we need more of that still in music, just the lyricism and the message that really goes into it. And like you mentioned, the abstract vibe, if you will, because a lot of people don't seem to understand, like, hey, there's an important message behind this. It's not just we listen to it through our ears, but do we also listen to like the meaning? It's not just here. It's all about mind, body, and soul. So I mean, I like how you said the abstract part of it, because I think a lot of that's missing nowadays, and I think a lot of that can be also equated to back in the day, even into now, so people can learn. Everything's a learning experience. So
Yeah, totally. And I think like even like with artists like Taylor Swift, I think she's getting a lot more abstract with her lyrics and a lot more mature with her lyrics. And Doja Cat, I really liked the song she put out from her new album, Pink Town Red. And yeah, I think a lot of people, as a lot of these artists are getting older and more mature, I think they're getting a little more experimental, and I like it. It's nice.
hell yeah, absolutely. Okay, go ahead, Danny.
Sorry.
No, I was,
No, no.
no, I actually like that because I've been in, I'm a TikTok guy. Everyone knows this. I'm a TikTok guy. And I keep hearing about Doja's song and like everything that's been happening with her. And I'm just like kind of lost with that. So I was even like glad that you brought that up because I haven't heard anyone recently speak about that. What is
She's
that
been
song
going
about?
through it. She's been going through it. I don't know what's going on, but I hope she gets help. Poor thing. She's clearly not well. And yeah, I hope she gets the help she needs, because she just went on a rant to her fans and got real upset. And yeah, I just think, yeah,
I,
she just needs help.
I, I feel like fame does that to you though. I mean, I could be wrong. I'm not famous,
Oh,
unfortunately.
I think you're absolutely right, given all the famous people that have had, problems, which is almost all of them. Like, it's more rare to be famous and be stable in the head. But yeah, I think you're right. Fame can really mess with someone's head. Just having like everyone's input in your head all the time, and like just everyone knowing who you are, but you not knowing them. It's weird. It's weird.
I think it's weird that people can put an input on your life without them really knowing you. And I feel like that's been a problem for me. Like I said, I'm not famous, but like when I
Yeah.
see like when I see just people give opinions about me, and I'm like, you don't even know me. Or like
Yeah.
sometimes when people feel like they know you, and and it's just so weird. So I like sometimes I feel for these celebrities because you have like, especially with the whole Doja Cat situation, it's like people are like, oh, she's this, she's doing that, and I'm like, you don't even know her though. Like, how do
Yeah.
you? There's a lot of people like they're saying like it has to do with like Illuminati or whatever, and I'm like, dude, she
Oh
could just
God.
like, and I kind of hate that. I don't know. I'm actually this is really interesting because I don't really talk about this much because a lot of people don't like to get into it. But it's like when they say like Hollywood is like taken over by like that, I'm like sometimes people could just really be going through it. Like people are like she's transforming or whatever, she's going to the other side. I was like, what if she's actually literally just going through it? And
Yeah.
instead of people helping her, they're bashing her or coming up with theories and stuff. And I think that just sucks in general of Hollywood. I know like we're supposed to be talking wrestling, but
Yeah.
I think this is also like a serious topic. I know a big example of this is like Kanye, where you know people say stuff about him, but mentally he's just going through it. And I think the message here is really just like mental health is a very serious thing. And like I've told Michael in the past, like to me, mental health is very serious, and I'm a big speaker about it because I don't think it gets spoken about enough. So I guess a question I can ask you now would be, how do you deal with negativity?
Well, I am in therapy. Yeah,
Yeah,
I recently, after my house burned down, I started going back to therapy because it clearly, like, just between that and just, like, I can't even imagine what someone as famous as Doja Cat goes through, but, I'm not even at that level, and I want to rip my hair out sometimes with some of the comments I read. Like, I just had to turn off the comments on one of my reels of me doing the reverse pedigree today, and yeah, just blocking people. Like, if they say something, like, I used to kind of like clap back, but now I just kind of block them, because really at the end of the day, a lot of what these people just want is attention,
yeah.
and I don't want to give rude people what they want. So bye.
Well,
Go ahead.
no, first and foremost, I know you posted about on your social media. I'm sorry about everything that happened with your apartment, and I'm glad to see that you're doing stuff and you're lurking to get better. Like I said, I know how hard that's been for you, so I'm glad to hear that you're taking the steps forward. And first and foremost, I know you will get through it because you're a strong person. So I'm sending well wishes your way on that front, Laura.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're very welcome. So getting into what I wanted to add to that, because he was very apparent with mental health, because mental health is very important, people. Automatic assumptions people make on Twitter. Everything is more this instead of this. I think we've gone from a divided front instead of a united front. And I think what's amazing about these people, and you're doing the right strategy, because I many of times have wanted to clap back and trade snaps, if you will, and just go back and forth and clap back at people. But I think the best way to eradicate the negativity, if you will, and just really just focus on you is don't listen to it. It's one ear out the other. I think you have the right approach with it. And I think a lot of people can adhere to that, because, well, at the end of the day, it's just noise. And just focus on you, do you, be yourself. We could say the automatic cliches, but it's very true, and it's very focal and how you want to grow as a person, and just do your thing. And I think how everybody does their thing is an amazing fashion. So just do your thing and just vibe it out. There's put it on a t-shirt, do your thing and vibe it out. Perfect. But now,
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. I can understand wanting to, like, retaliate and clap back, and, like, because you want to put people in their place and you want them to learn that you can't do that. But it's like, these people aren't going to learn
no,
through, so it's just like, don't even bother. It's not your job.
right.
It's just your job to focus on you, like you said.
I mean, especially, and I'll say this, folks, for someone who does the LFC Instagrams and Twitters over there, and speaking from our work with LFC,
Oh God.
yeah, you want to see comments, folks, and just people saying dumb shit. You should check out the LFC social media. I'll just put it at that, and I'll leave it at that. Well, you let that marinate into people's head and put it out to their imagination. So yeah.
Oh God.
Fuck
Yeah.
off. Anyway, not you. I'm saying fuck off to those people that say that. Go ahead, Danny.
No,
For
I
sure.
really just to add on to that. I mean,
Yeah.
if only, like, and I mean, this is obviously, like, we say it all the time, or people say it all the time. If only everyone could get along. I mean,
Right.
I don't think people realize that, like, because I usually say words don't hurt me, but like when people get to commenting on like posts and stuff, or even like with the like celebrities and like bigger stars, like even as a spectator, when I'm looking at the comments, I'm like, damn, like you hate this person this much. Like, how do you like? How can you? First of all, I'm very like Instagram and Twitter and all these things. They have to have a better way to kind of control the comment section, because people get away with a lot of crazy stuff in the comment sections, and I'm like, how did Instagram or whatever social media even allow them to even like hit sent on this comment? Um, and it's weird, and I just wish people were more aware of how other people take things, because I know we always say words don't hurt, or words are words, but some people words are more than words, and they hurt and they take action, and that's when we see like tragic stuff. And I just wish people just keep your thoughts to yourself, or it sucks. I'm very passionate about stuff like that because of various reasons, but it just, yeah, completely sucks.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know what the solution is, to be perfectly honest, because I'm with you. Like, it's not easy getting those kinds of comments, so but like people are gonna keep doing it because they're anonymous and there's no consequences. You know, they can say whatever the heck they want. So it's just like, I don't know what the solution is. I don't know if social media was a mistake and we need to wipe it off the face of the earth. I don't know, but yeah, it's terrible. People shouldn't do it, but yeah, you just gotta not feed it. And that's the best we can do, unfortunately.
I'll add on to her last part there because she said something that's very focal that you did, Miss Lara Frazier. The fact of the matter is that we should just like wipe social media away. Here's what's great about that. When I started, and I'll tell a quick story about social media here. When I was 18, I was graduating high school. This was 2010, right? So everybody used to get on my case because I didn't have a Facebook. So I'm like, all right, you know what? I'll keep my friends and whatever on it. But Facebook and all this stuff has become so, how everybody promotes everything now from a technological standpoint. But I think even as I've gotten older, like Facebook at the time, okay, like, it's social media. But as I'm 31 now, and as we get older into our 30s and what have you, when we mature as people, we're just like, this is fucking stupid. Like, how about we just like, talk in person and stuff like this? There's so many avenues we could go here. You just realize like, man, what we had as a tool back then, which we thought was cool, but as we get older, it's like, it's kind of fucking dumb. You know what I'm saying? Like, people are entitled to their opinions, but you also don't have to be a shitty person. And you can actually, as we've been always taught, if you got nothing nice to say, then don't say it at all. So, I mean, there's my rant on that, but I also can equate that we should just eradicate social media because you even have youngins out here who are like 12 or 13 creating social media accounts. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, I remember at that age, I just wanted to go out and just play basketball or just go over to the local Dave and Buster's and like arcading it up, man. That's what we have. It's a generation that really has, evolved. But also at the same time, you're taking a step back on really what fundamentals that you can teach the younger generation to be positively proactive, as well as just, I don't know, decency and tact, if you will. So yeah, that's my rant. My apologies. But I just wanted to add on to your point.
It's fine. It's fine. No, I get it. Yeah, it's hard because like, on the one hand, it's like I do use it very frequently to promote my work. But on the other hand, there are times where it's just like, I want to go off the grid. I don't want anyone to know where I am. I just want to disappear. But yeah, it's just about, you just got to listen because like, yeah, there's a couple of people who say rude things, but there are people who say nice things too. And the rude things tend to stick in our dumb monkey brains, but we got to remember there's, people who enjoy our work and those are the people who matter at the end of the day.
True. Hashtag dumb monkey brains. I like that. So go ahead, Danny.
Yeah, no, I was gonna say about the whole wipe off social media thing. It really might have been a mistake, but like to your point, like you said, you needed to like promote matches and upcoming events and stuff. And majority of the time I'm also like, hey, I just don't want to do this anymore. Like I don't want social media. I don't want to have all this. But then it's like, we have a whole podcast around. It's like, imagine if we didn't have social media and stuff. Like, how would people hear us and stuff? So it's a weird little thing. And like you said, what you said is like spot on. You can make a post and the first comment could be something really nice, like something made my day, and then the next comment could be something completely rude, and that's the one that's going to stick. You're going to forget about the first comment, never remember it ever again, but you'll remember the second one even when you're about to go to sleep, and it's just like, damn, okay. And now that whatever they said sticks to you like for a long time, and it sucks. But yeah, I mean, I think that was like stated the right way. Like we might have made a mistake with social media, but then again, I feel like we've made mistakes with a lot of different things. I mean, just going back to music, I think we've accepted too many forms of music where it's kind of like, what has it turned into? Like, I'm very big on music as well, and I say this all the time, and people think I'm joking. At times, I feel like music saved my life in a sense. So I'm very like, we have like all this music now where it's not even lyricism anymore. It's just like, does the beat sound nice or who's the person, singing or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that was my rant. But yeah, go ahead, Michael.
Nah, dude, I gotta say something as someone who I can speak with it, and I think a lot of people can relate to this. There was a couple of years ago where I was in a dark period in my life, and really getting out of it from a spiritual standpoint, but also as a standpoint, really analyzing, dissecting, and decipher everything. I can attest to music and wrestling being your escape because that is something that were two of my first loves growing up. I think a lot of it to get your mind off of certain things. You know what I'm saying? Listening to music, putting those headphones in, or just watching professional wrestling. Or a lot of the talents that we see right now, a lot of them steer them away from going down a bad path, and they like professional wrestling because we talk about the art form and the craft of it. There's many different outlets for people to go into, and as long as you're making the right decisions and you're not hurting anybody and you are keeping your nose to the grindstone, if you will, and really just going this way as opposed to this way and this way, or if you do go this way or go this way, finding your way back to here, I think it really sets an example of the person that you are, the person that you can become, and just really see what goes on onward and upward for you in the future. So it's just really just all about staying on the right path, and a lot of people escaping to said music and wrestling. Just if you like it, enjoy it, and if you don't, find something that you will enjoy, because you will find it and you will stick to it, and you will see where it happens. Things can prosper. That's really all I got to say about that. I'll add on to your head.
For sure, totally.
I agree. Yeah, like if I wasn't, I think this is the first time I've said this publicly, but if I wasn't wrestling, I don't know what I'd be doing. It's definitely, besides music, it's definitely saved my life, and I love doing it. Um, all right, so I think we've gone to my favorite part of interviews.
Hit it.
Is we have a question that we ask every single guest, right? And we get so many different answers, and they all stick with me. So I really do like this part. So here you go. Before we wrap up, if you had the attention of the entire world for 5 minutes, what advice would you give them? Now, you don't have to talk to them for 5 minutes, but you do have 5 minutes to talk to them. So it can be advice that's 30 seconds, whatever, but you don't have to talk to them for 5 minutes. It's just, you got their attention for 5 minutes.
Oh God. Uh I don't know. It's kind of hard to say because it's like, yeah, you can say something to the entire world, but will they listen? Like maybe some people will. I don't know. Oh God. I don't know.
Well, I know like something that Shia Brookside said when I asked you this question, which I haven't posted yet. It is kind of hypothetical, so it's like,
Yeah.
let's just say in this case scenario, they're gonna, yeah. I'm like, let's just say in this case scenario, they're gonna listen to you. So,
Okay. Hmm. Um, it's, you know, it's easy to like not like yourself, but it's going to be harder for you in the long run. It's better to try loving yourself and convince yourself that you love yourself. And it sounds cliche, but like honestly, like I don't know, after my house burned down, like I kind of get it now. I kind of see it now. Like it's more than a cliche now to me. The whole self-love thing. And it's totally easier said than done, but like at the end of the day, I'm more willing to take care of myself and I'm more willing to take care of the people around me. And that's really what's important at the end of the day is just, it's okay. Loving people isn't corny. It's healthy.
that was beautifully said.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was, yeah, I like that. That was beautifully said. I can't speak either.
It's okay.
All right. Yeah, like I said, that was awesome, Michael.
First and foremost, folks, a lot of what we talked about in today's form will be here. You guys can check out Lara Frazier over here in her LFC work. We'll see some photos in this done by Richard Enber of her photos from her bout with Veronica Payne. We'll see the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Tommy Bell with his drawing of Deck the Halls Christmas Time with Lauren over here, Miss Lara Frazier and Veronica Payne. And just a lot of great wrestling stuff in here. We really encompass in today's forum, really opening up a lot of eyes and ears about what we go through as people and just everything that is the art and craft that is professional wrestling. And first and foremost, Miss Lara Frazier, Miss Adventuress, if you will. Anytime you want to come back on this show, you're more than welcome to. It's really been a blast as always talking to you and really picking your brain on a lot of stuff. So we got to first and foremost, thank you for your time on that front.
Yeah, for sure. Thank you for having me. Always a pleasure.
And as well, where can we follow you on the interwebs, on the social media front, if you will? You got a Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, YouTube. Where can we check you out?
Pretty much everything. Twitter. I'm most active on Instagram, but I'm also active on Twitter. I also have a Facebook and a TikTok, but I'm not really active on those. But Instagram, Twitter, Lara Frazier Kick. And same with TikTok and Facebook. Yep. I'm also on YouTube just as Lara Frazier. I don't really post a lot there, but I do have a Patreon under Lara Frazier, and you don't even need to join because I have pretty much every link of all my matches on YouTube listed there, and you don't have to join to see them. They're all public because they're all public on YouTube. So you can go there, and if you want to see a match, most of them are public. Some of them are privated for like copyright reasons and stuff. But yeah, if you want to see like cool photo shoots or like some behind the scenes stuff, you can also follow me on Patreon as well.
Beautifully said. Follow her on all those links. If you're not, what are you doing? We got some great matches up in here that you should definitely check out of Lara Frazier here. And first of all I got to say is, and before I have Danny take over here, you're probably one of the most blunt, honest, and passionate people that I know. I can't wait to see you again in person. And it's always just a joy and pleasure to speak with you because you're always very brightening up the days with your comedy and just your overall energy. So let's put that out in the forefront and manifest into so many more great things for you.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
You're welcome. Now, Mr. Danny Harrow, go ahead.
I personally just want to say, yeah, I like this episode a lot, and the fact that we were able to talk about mental health. We haven't touched on that on our podcast yet, so sometimes I feel like it's something we can't bring up sometimes, or maybe people aren't comfortable with. But the fact that we're able to speak about it and kind of get raw with it, really meant a lot to me, just as someone that's very vocal about mental health and how important it is. So personally, I just want to thank you for just, opening up a little bit about that. So that meant a lot.
Yeah, for sure. It means a lot to me too.
Michael, closes out.
For Danny Harrow, for the adventuress Lara Frazier kick you upside your face with a roundhouse kick. Oh, God, if you were friggin' AEW tonight, you'd see MJF doing the kangaroo kick. There's a lot of kicking going on. There's an old song talking about a whole lot of shaking going on. When it's Lara Frazier, there's a whole lot of kicking going on, and she kicks butts and takes names in amazing fashion. Life is an art form where we're all applying our crafts and continue to apply yours in amazing fashion, folks. For Danny Harrow, for Lara Frazier, my name is Mike Larkin. This is All Things Pro Wrestling. Follow us on ATPW Pod on the Twitter machine, the Instagram All Things Pro Wrestling, and subscribe to our YouTube All Things Pro Wrestling, and on Spotify, I for an I. Check us out. We're all over the place. Thank you for listening.
Before we go.
Okay, wait, well.
I had to cut you off. Before we go, huge shout out to Ivy Malibu.
Thank you.
Our first ever brand ambassador. Very happy to be working with her. Yeah, my bad. Yeah, you can take us out. I forgot I had to put that in there.
I was about to say, you were like jumping at me right now. I felt like I was in a horror movie.
It was running in my head, and then like I was gonna let you close out, but then I was like, "There's no way I could bring it back in." So I had to say that she's amazing, an amazing talent. Glad she's working with us, and hope we can go with her as well. But go ahead, Michael. I'm so sorry.
No worries. Thank you, Ivy Malibu. We appreciate you, and keep on doing your thing and applying your craft. And now the outro, if you will. Listen. Thank you for listening to another edition of All Things Pro Wrestling, and we will see you in the next episode. Thank you guys so much for listening.